Well, I guess you got to start and stop it again. Anyway, why do I bring up the nopal? Because happy the Cinco de Mayo, everybody. I'm enjoying a skinny margarita from Frida's, which is about 2+ miles away from where I am. And so they had a takeout there. And I think half of, because it was Cinco de Mayo, they had half of Uber Eats and associated services there in line, not observing social distancing. Anyway, forget that. I didn't check. I did not check the figures today for how much. Ooh, there's a hawk flying up above. Cool. Because we don't have any pigeons around here anymore. Hardly have any pigeons here because the hawks are flying around and they know where to get the pigeons. But so Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. Mexican Independence Day, right? No. No, 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 no. That's September 16th. My birthday. My birthday. I was born on September 16th. Oh, the birds are out in the forest today. I'm gonna poop on my head. Kind of look like I poop on my head with all this gray up here. But anyway, the Cinco de Mayo was equal to one of these stunning upsets. Stunning upsets that rocked the world. It was the first significant battle, I guess, in the subjugation of Mexico by the French. The French had an interest in the subjugation of Mexico, not only because of just the fact that they needed to project their power over a resource-rich and highly populated area in the Western Hemisphere, which they could get away with. Why? Why could the French get away with an intervention in Mexico? 1860s, early 1860s, think about it. Oh, because we were in the middle of a civil war in the United States. That's why. So, the French, who had taken the usual route of invading Mexico through Veracruz, the Gulf Coast, and marching up to Mexico City to basically take possession of the capital and therefore decapitate the country, as did the Spaniards, as did the Americans about 15 years prior, to take the northern half of what was then Mexico. But the French came over to establish a protectorate, basically a client state of France. They did this and installed Maximilian, the brother of the Austrian, the famous Austrian emperor of the time, and the cousin of France. So this gave France a protectorate, a client state, and it gave the Emperor of Austria something for his more happy-go-lucky, less ambitious brother to do, and so he would rule over Mexico. The trouble is that Mexicans, since the Spaniards were here, basically, had always been a freedom-loving people. When they were put over the common yoke of the Spaniards, arguably all the way from Costa Rica all the way to Oregon, which was basically Spain. So Well, we when we consider the place and time uh, alongside the Civil War of the United States, what France also wanted was the same thing Great Britain wanted, which was access to southern cotton. Because, as I said prior, cotton in the South was like lithium in today's world. Lithium is why governments fall and the U.S. invades and things like that. But they don't say that. Oil, yeah, but definitely in the quantities that it's in Venezuela. But lithium is what in this phone that I'm recording you on. Hope they find some on the moon. It can leave the rest of the planet alone here. But so um, in the Civil War, France wanted to aid the Confederacy. So they were going to take Mexico and not only take possession of Mexico and its vast silver and other resources that it had. This is before petroleum now, of course. But they had a large border with the Confederacy, mostly around Texas. Arizona was arguably kind of flipping between the Confederacy and not. They had, that's why you have Confederate monuments there in Arizona today. So just imagine they were going to be able to the Confederacy had a Union blockade, and France, hello, medical chopper, probably picking up a corona case out in Brownsville or someplace, but so France is going to be able to supply the Confederacy. But the hero that came out of that time in Mexico, pardon me, the president of Mexico at the time was Benito Juarez. Yeah, that Juarez, the one, the one who the big sister city of El Paso, Texas, was named after. So Benito Juarez was the first notably majority Native American president of Mexico. He had distinguished himself in the fight for independence as a soldier, as did a number of people who were to come to power in Mexico in succeeding years. Unfortunately, also like Santa Anna, but Benito Juarez was a Zapotec Indian from Oaxaca, which is in a beautiful, beautiful place in southern Mexico, one state over from Guatemala. Arguably part of, actually no, it's on this side of the isthmus, so it's not part of Central America. Anyway, people in Oaxaca Zapotec have had their own cuisine. Mexican cuisine has been rocking for millennia, not centuries. Millennia. The Aztecs, the Zapotecs, the Toltecs, Maya, all had their spices, all had their flower extract, all had their fruits and vegetables. They all had all that stuff. They had all their way to prepare, corn and Mexican cuisine has been rocking versus before the Spanish. And the Zapotecs are notable for it. Their notable contribution is mole. Mole, which is the chocolatey, nutty, seed oil mishmash condiment, which goes wonderfully on chicken. Which is basically hand in glove with it's like curry. it's that big of a deal. But it's like, oh, let's go have some curry over at the Indian restaurant. No, okay. mole at this fine Mexican establishment. So that was their contribution to the world. So one of their guys got to be president of the United States, president of Mexico during the U.S. Civil War. And of course he was put out by he had to flee when the French came finally in the capital, and had a stronghold in northern Mexico, supplied by the Union. Back to Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo was the big upset. That's like 1991 Memphis versus USC in Memphis, or then Memphis State beating USC in football, or Memphis versus Alabama in '86. Yeah, it's one of those. But mind you, the Mexican cavalry this time is probably the best cavalry in the world. The world, for sure. They were doing things with horses long before people in the United States were doing things with horses, thanks to the Spaniards. And also they had to face down the Americans twice, once in Texas and once generally for independence. So, you know, they were ready. And at 3-1 advantage in personnel, they beat back the French and gave Mexico a chance to reconstitute itself in its northern territories. Pardon me. Oh my, here's a mess. Forget it. You'll forgive me. But that happened on the 5th of May, 1862, I believe. 61, 62, 63. But anyway, so while Benito Juarez skirted away with his loyalists over to northern Mexico, I think Chihuahua was the new base of operation. He was, of course, supported by the Union, because the Union did not want France to support support the Confederacy. And sooner or later, Benito Juarez was able to creep back south. And Maximilian was, in very dramatic fashion, caught and executed by a firing squad in Querétaro, which is a place in central Mexico, about a couple hours drive north from Mexico City, as far as we drive now. But anyway, so had France won the Battle of Puebla that occurred on the 5th of May, on Cinco de Mayo, Mexico probably would not have been able to reconstitute itself in its northern territories. And France would probably have been able to be successful in undermining the U.S. blockade of the Confederacy. Of course, mind you, both France and Austria were major world powers at the time. The U.S. would have had a big problem opposing either France or Austria at the time if they had a significant presence on their own continent. But kind of ironic. Why do I say so? Because we have a lot of folks celebrating Cinco de Mayo, you know, kind of tipsy on margaritas like this one I have right now. Like me, of course. Not that I'm tipsy. But lots of people who say Happy Cinco de Mayo, let's get drunk at a Mexican restaurant. Some places are opening up right now. Some of the same folks are, yeah, make America great again, build that wall. Fuck those Mexicans. keep their children separated, even though they get flu and coronavirus. Keep them working in these plants that we can have our pork and our chicken, like Trump said. Love the culture, hate the people. Well, hate me too, motherfuckers. Hate me too. That's what I'd say. You see these guys celebrating Cinco de Mayo, being anti-social, anti-immigrant jerks. Well, fuck you. Okay? For sure. For sure. That's what I have to say to you. We're not foreigners on this land. We're not foreigners on this land at all. There was Spanish spoken across the river in Arkansas when the Spanish bailed your asses out against the English in the American Revolutionary War. And you want to keep us working to make your chicken, even though we're doing coronavirus. Screw that. Anyway, happy Cinco de Mayo to all of you. I'll see you all again in 16th of September, celebrate my birthday. Bye.